Hello there and welcome. I'm Zakaria Mohammed, and tonight or today or whenever you're consuming this digital dispatch of despair, we're diving headfirst into a topic so outrageously expensive it makes gold-plated toilet seats look like a sensible household purchase. That's right, we're talking about schools, not just any schools, mind you, but the kind of educational establishments where the annual tuition fee could probably buy you a small, moderately well-behaved island nation, or at the very least a lifetime supply of artisanal, gluten-free, ethically sourced, hand-massaged coffee beans. We've scoured the globe, or at least we've scoured some very alarming spreadsheets to bring you a list of cities where the cost of learning how to spell privilege is, shall we say, astronomical. These are places where parents don't just pack a lunch, they pack a second mortgage. We're talking about institutions where the debate isn't about public versus private, but about whether the school's polo ponies are getting enough organic carrots. So buckle up, check your bank balance, and then maybe cry a little. Because we're about to embark on a journey through the hallowed and incredibly pricey halls of academia. This isn't just about numbers, though the numbers are, frankly, terrifying enough to make a seasoned accountant weep. It's about what these costs represent, the sheer audacity of it all, and perhaps, just perhaps, wondering if little Timmy really needs a personal robotics coach and a sommelier for his juice boxes to succeed in life. We're going to look at 40 cities where the price of admission to knowledge is so high you'd expect the diploma to be personally delivered by a unicorn riding a solid gold Segway. Let's begin this slightly horrifying, deeply fascinating countdown. Our first stop on this tour of financial annihilation is Zurich, Switzerland, home to the rather ostentatiously named Le Croissant d'Or International Academy. Now, Zurich is already known for being a tad on the pricey side, a place where a simple sandwich can feel like a down payment on a small car. But Le Croissant d'Or takes this to a whole new level. Their unique features include, and I kid you not, a bespoke curriculum tailored to each child's future global leadership potential, which sounds suspiciously like they teach toddlers how to conduct hostile takeovers. They also boast an Olympic-sized swimming pool filled with imported alpine spring water, because apparently regular chlorinated water is for the plebs. The campus itself looks less like a school and more like a Bond villain's alpine retreat, complete with its own private funicular railway to transport students between the lower school Zen garden and the upper school quantum physics yurt. And the cost for your child to experience this educational utopia, or perhaps gilded cage, a mere $95,000 per annum. Yes, $95,000 US. For that kind of money, you'd expect the school to not only educate your child, but also solve climate change and teach them to communicate with dolphins. The tuition apparently includes all-inclusive access to global networking events, which probably means your 7-year-old gets to rub shoulders with miniature oligarchs in training over canapes of sustainably farmed caviar. One has to wonder if the homework assignments are delivered on platinum tablets, or if they just expect the parents to telepathically absorb the crippling debt. It's less an education, more an expensive multi-year performance art piece about wealth. New York City, the city that never sleeps, mostly because its residents are working 3 jobs to afford the rent, and apparently their children's elementary school tuition. We're looking at the Ethelred Academy for Aspiring Alphas, located naturally on the Upper East Side, where even the pigeons seem to have trust funds. The Ethelred Academy prides itself on its hyper-individualized learning pods. which are essentially soundproofed cubicles where children are presumably groomed to become future hedge fund managers who can tune out the cries of the proletariat. Their unique selling proposition includes mandatory polo lessons starting from kindergarten, because nothing says ready for the real world like knowing how to thwack a ball from horseback before you can reliably tie your own shoelaces. They also have a director of serenity, whose job, one assumes, is to calm parents down after they see the tuition bill. Speaking of which, to enroll your little future titan of industry at Ethelred, you'll need to part with a cool $88,000 a year. $88,000, that's not including the optional extras like the annual global citizenship excursion to Monaco or the advanced emotional intelligence retreat in a secluded 5-star yurt. For this price, you'd expect the school to come with a personal butler for each child and a guarantee that they'll never have to experience the indignity of flying commercial. It's a place where the PTA meetings are probably catered by Michelin-starred chefs, and the biggest disciplinary issue is arguing over whose daddy owns the bigger yacht. Education in New York, it seems, is less about the 3 R's and more about the 3 C's: cost, connections, and crippling anxiety. Next we hop across the pond to jolly old London, a city steeped in history, culture, and apparently an unshakable belief that education should cost more than a small castle. Our focus here is the St. Cuthbert's Preparatory School for Gentlemen and Gentlewomen of Discerning Lineage, a name so long it probably requires its own postcode. St. Cuthbert's boasts a history dating back to when discerning lineage actually meant something other than has a lot of money. Unique features include a compulsory Latin and ancient Greek curriculum from age 5, because what modern child doesn't need to decline Mensa before breakfast? They also have an on-site falconry centre, presumably to teach children the ancient art of dispatching messages before the invention of WhatsApp, or perhaps just to look incredibly intimidatingly aristocratic during parent-teacher conferences. The damage for ensuring your offspring can conjugate Latin verbs while a hawk perches majestically on their arm, a stiff upper lip and approximately £75,000, which translates to roughly $92,000. For that sum, you'd imagine the school uniform is woven from unicorn hair, and the school lunches are personally prepared by a celebrity chef who only cooks with ingredients blessed by a minor royal. They probably have a chief antiquarian instead of a librarian, and detention involves writing essays on the socio-economic impact of the Norman conquest using a quill and parchment. It's the kind of place where the alumni network probably controls half the country, and the other half is busy trying to figure out how to afford the application fee. Chapter 4. Tokyo, Japan. Futuristic learning at a futuristically high price. Let's jet over to Tokyo, a city where the future is now, and apparently so is the need to remortgage your house for your child's education. We're spotlighting the Gakko Mirai Innovators Institute, which sounds like it was named by a committee that just binge-watched a lot of sci-fi. This institute claims to prepare students for jobs that don't even exist yet, which is a bold claim considering most of us are still trying to figure out jobs that do exist. Unique features include a mandatory robotics and AI programming class for all ages, a vertical farm on campus, supplying the organic cafeteria, and empathy-enhancing virtual reality simulations. One can only imagine what kind of empathy they're trying to enhance. Perhaps empathy for the parents footing the bill for these VR headsets. To secure a spot for your little innovator at Gakko Mirai, you'll need to find approximately 10,500,000 yen, which is around $85,000 per year. For that kind of yen, you'd expect the school to provide each student with their own personal robot assistant and a curriculum that guarantees they'll invent the next world-changing app before they hit puberty. The school probably has a chief futurist officer instead of a principal, and the school trips are likely to research facilities on the moon, or at least a very convincing simulation of one. It's an education designed for a tomorrow that's incredibly sleek, technologically advanced, and eye-wateringly expensive for the parents of today. Chapter 5. Singapore, the Lion City, roars with high tuition fees. Our journey now takes us to the gleaming city-state of Singapore, renowned for its efficiency, cleanliness, and, as it turns out, schools that can make your wallet significantly lighter. Consider the Malayan Global Scholars Academy, a name that evokes national pride and perhaps the sound of parents weeping into their perfectly manicured bonsai trees. This academy emphasizes a trilingual immersion program in English, Mandarin and coding because in the 21st century, binary is apparently the new lingua franca. A standout feature is their Junior Davos Economic Forum, where 10-year-olds debate global financial policy, presumably while sipping on artisanal fruit juice and making power plays for control of the class hamster. They also have a biodome that replicates a miniature rainforest for experiential ecological studies. The price for this globally minded, ecologically aware, trilingually fluent education, a smooth 110,000 Singapore dollars, which is roughly $81,000. For this sum, one might expect the school to come with a built-in stock ticker in every classroom and a guarantee of a future seat on several multinational boards. The Parent-Teacher Association probably discusses geopolitical strategy and optimal hedge fund allocations for the school's endowment. It's a place where academic pressure is as high as the skyscrapers, and the definition of a school project might involve developing a sustainable business model for a small island nation. Singapore's education system is famously rigorous, and at the Malayan Global Scholars Academy, so is the impact on your savings. Chapter 6. Hong Kong, where sky-high buildings meet sky-high school fees. Next, we venture to Hong Kong, a vibrant metropolis where vertical living is the norm, and apparently so are vertically terrifying tuition fees. Let's look at the Dragon's Peak International College. Perched, one imagines, on a very expensive piece of real estate overlooking the harbour. This college champions its East meets West synergistic learning environment, which likely means they teach calligraphy with one hand and options trading with the other. A particularly notable feature is their mandatory urban resilience program, where students learn to navigate densely populated environments, which in Hong Kong is less a specialized skill and more a daily reality. They also boast a rooftop hydroponics lab that contributes to the school's farm-to-fork organic lunch program, presumably tended by students who are also acing their advanced calculus. To have your child synergistically learn how to be resiliently urban while munching on rooftop-grown kale, you'll need to fork over 620,000 Hong Kong dollars, or about $79,000 annually. For that price, you'd expect the school to have its own private MTR station, and perhaps offer courses in advanced queuing theory and competitive dim sum acquisition. The school's mascot is probably a dragon, not just because of the name, but because you'd need a mythical hoard of gold to comfortably afford the fees for more than one child. In Hong Kong, it seems, the competition for school places is as fierce as the battle for a decent-sized apartment, and both will cost you dearly. All right, next stop, Paris, the city of lights, the city of love, and guess what? A city with super expensive schools for little kids. We're shining a light on l'École des Petits Aristocrates. That's French for the School of Little Aristocrats. And let's be honest, the name tells you everything you need to know. It's in a lovely and no doubt super old mansion in a very fancy part of Paris, the 16th district. And what's so special here? Their program called Cultural Immersion through high fashion and gourmet food. Yep, your 5-year-old will learn about the deep meaning behind a Chanel handbag and the delicate art of telling apart 37 kinds of cheese. They also have special classes on manners, taught by actual European nobles, people with fancy titles. This makes sure your kid knows which fork to use for their macarons, those fancy French cookies that are dusted with real gold. The price for your child to become a tiny, perfectly mannered, cheese-knowing aristocrat. Oh, just 70,000 euros a year. That's about 76,000 US dollars. For that kind of money, you'd expect them to give each student a personal stylist, and you'd hope they graduate understanding sarcasm in at least 3 languages. Their school plays are probably very serious, old French dramas, with actors in amazing historical costumes made in real Paris fashion workshops. It's the kind of place where finger painting means using special organic vegetable dyes on paper handmade at a mill that's centuries old. In Paris, it seems, teaching your kids to have good taste is a big investment, like buying a pretty famous old painting. Now, let's cruise over to Los Angeles, California, the land of dreams, movie stars, and schools that cost more than a blockbuster movie's catering budget. Our focus is the Pacific Palisades Progressive Academy for Future Influencers, or PPPFI, because everything in LA needs a catchy, slightly absurd acronym. PPAFI's unique selling point is its personal branding and digital footprint cultivation class, mandatory from age 6. Students learn how to curate their Instagram feeds, optimize their TikTok dances for maximum engagement, and presumably how to negotiate lucrative sponsorship deals for organic juice boxes. They also have an on-campus green screen studio and a director of viral content, ensuring little Madison is ready for her close-up and her first 1 million followers before she even loses her baby teeth. To get your budding influencer into PPPFI, you'll need to shell out a staggering $78,000 annually. For that price, you'd expect the school to come with its own talent agency and a direct line to Hollywood casting directors. The school lunches are probably gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, fun-free, and Instagrammably plated. Parent-teacher conferences likely involve discussing your child's engagement metrics and Kardashian quotient. It's a place where the most important subject isn't math or science, but advanced self-recomposition, and where the ultimate academic achievement is a verified blue check mark. In LA, it seems, education is just another form of content creation, and it's priced accordingly. Back to Switzerland we go, this time to Geneva, a city synonymous with international diplomacy, luxury watches, and, as we're discovering, schools that require a diplomat's salary to afford. Let's examine Institut Le Rocher Précieux, which translates to the Precious Rock Institute, a name that subtly hints at the kind of financial foundation you'll need. This esteemed institution emphasizes global citizenship and conflict resolution, presumably teaching children how to mediate disputes over who gets the last gold-plated toy car. A unique feature is their model United Nations Junior Assembly, where 7-year-olds debate international treaties with the seriousness of seasoned ambassadors, perhaps fueled by Swiss chocolate and an innate understanding of offshore accounts. They also boast a trilingual debating society, French, German and English, because arguing effectively in one language is clearly for amateurs. The annual investment for your child to become a tiny, multilingual peacemaker at Le Rocher-Precieux is 72,000 Swiss francs, or approximately $79,500. For that amount, you'd expect the school to have direct diplomatic immunity and perhaps a secret tunnel connecting to the UN. The school uniform probably includes a miniature briefcase and a selection of flags from G20 nations. It's the kind of place where show and tell involves presenting a recently acquired Fabergé egg or a detailed analysis of Swiss banking regulations. In Geneva, it seems, preparing your child for a life on the global stage starts early and costs a fortune, ensuring they're well-versed in both diplomacy and the art of the expensive education. Good day, mates, and welcome to Sydney, Australia, where the beaches are beautiful, the lifestyle is laid back, and the private school fees are anything but. We're looking at Bondi Crest Academy, a school that promises an education as stunning as its presumed ocean views. Bondi Crest's unique curriculum includes marine biology and sustainable surfing practices. Because if you're going to live in Sydney, you might as well learn to save the ocean while catching the perfect wave. They also have a Junior Lifesaver certification program integrated into their PE classes, ensuring students are not only academically proficient but also capable of dramatically rescuing you from a rip current, all before morning tea. The school boasts an innovation hub with 3D printers and VR labs overlooking the Tasman Sea, naturally. To have your little surfer scholar ride the wave of academic excellence at Bondi Crest, you'll need to splash out around AUD 115,000, which is about 76,000 US. For that kind of dosh, you'd expect the school to come with its own private beach and a guarantee that your child will be scouted for the pro surfing tour by graduation. The school canteen probably serves gourmet avocado toast and sustainably sourced seafood. It's a place where the school motto is likely mens sana, in corpore sano in aqua, a healthy mind in a healthy body in the water. In Sydney, it seems even the pursuit of knowledge comes with a hefty price tag, ensuring that only a select few can afford to combine their studies with a killer tan. Chapter 13, let's head back to the USA, specifically to Boston, Massachusetts, a city renowned for its historical significance and its plethora of prestigious and pricey educational institutions. We're looking at the Charles River Finishing School and Innovation Hub, a name that tries to blend old money charm with new tech aspirations. This school's unique claim to fame is its applied ethics and biotechnology course for high schoolers, presumably preparing them for a future where they might accidentally clone a woolly mammoth in their garage. They also boast a colonial history reenactment society that uses historically accurate and probably very expensive costumes, and an AI-driven personalized tutoring system that adapts to each student's learning pace or perhaps their parents' net worth. The cost to have your child innovate ethically while reenacting colonial history by the Charles River. A rather revolutionary $82,000 per year. For that kind of money, you'd expect the school to have a direct admissions pipeline to Harvard, or at least provide a very convincing powdered wig for the history reenactments. The school cafeteria probably serves artisanal clam chowder and organic lobster rolls. It's the sort of place where students might debate the finer points of Kantian ethics before heading off to their robotics club meeting. In Boston, a city that values intellect, the price of cultivating that intellect in a top-tier private school is, shall we say, profoundly educational for your bank account. Chapter 14. Marhaba. Our journey takes us to the dazzling desert metropolis of Dubai, a city that loves to go big and that apparently includes the cost of schooling. Let's consider the Burj Al Ilm Academy for global visionaries, Tower of Knowledge Academy for the less Arabic inclined. This academy, likely with views of some architectural marvel, emphasizes future-forward leadership and sustainable opulence. A unique feature is their personalized drone piloting and logistics program, because in the future your Amazon packages will be delivered by your highly educated child. They also have an indoor ski slope for PE class, because of course they do, it's Dubai, and a chief happiness officer to ensure all students and their fee-paying parents are suitably content with the luxurious educational experience. To enroll your little visionary at Burj Al Ilm, you'll need to prepare AED 290,000, which is approximately $79,000 annually. For this sum, you'd expect the school to provide each student with a gold-plated iPad and a personal assistant to carry their sustainably sourced organic school bag. The school field trips are probably to a private island to study marine conservation, or perhaps to the moon via a luxury space shuttle. It's a place where innovation means finding new ways to air condition the outdoor sports facilities, and global leadership means knowing how to network at a polo match. In Dubai, education is another luxury commodity, and it comes with a price tag as impressive as its skyline. Chapter 15, let's head to San Francisco, California, the heart of the tech world, where innovation is constant, and so, it seems, is the inflation of private school tuition. We're looking at the Golden Gate Future Founders School, a name that practically screams venture capital. This school's unique selling proposition is its K-12 incubator program, where students are encouraged to develop and pitch startup ideas from elementary school onwards. They probably have seed funding rounds instead of bake sales. Another feature is the mindfulness and coding co-curriculum, designed to help students stay zen while debugging their revolutionary apps, or perhaps while contemplating the astronomical cost of living in the Bay Area. The campus itself is likely a marvel of sustainable, minimalist, and incredibly expensive architecture. The price for your child to become a mindful future founder at Golden Gate, a disruptive $86,000 per year. For that kind of money, you'd expect the school to offer stock options upon graduation and a guarantee that your child's first startup will be a unicorn. The school lunches are probably algorithmically optimized for peak cognitive performance and sourced from local, artisanal, organic, buzzword-compliant farms. It's a place where the most popular extracurricular activity is hackathons, and the school mascot is probably a QR code. In San Francisco, it seems, the path to becoming the next tech billionaire starts with an education that costs a significant portion of a current tech billionaire's pocket change. Privet, our educational expedition now lands us in Moscow, Russia, a city of grand history, imposing architecture, and as it turns from our research, schools that command a czar's ransom. Let's consider the Kremlin Spire Academy for Strategic Thinkers, a name that evokes power, prestige, and perhaps a slight chill down your spine. This academy emphasizes geopolitical acumen and advanced chess mastery, because in Russia, life is a chessboard, and you need to be several moves ahead. A unique feature is their Siberian wilderness survival excursion for senior students. an optional yet highly encouraged module to build resilience or perhaps to thin out the competition for valedictorian. They also boast a heated indoor ice hockey rink because some stereotypes are apparently actively cultivated. To have your young strategist master chess and Siberian survival at Kremlin Spire, you'll need to find approximately 6,500,000 rubles, which is around $71,000 annually. For that investment, you'd expect the school to provide a direct line to influential figures and a curriculum that includes the art of the opaque pronouncement. The school uniform probably includes a very warm hat and an expression of stoic determination. It's a place where the parent-teacher meetings might involve lengthy philosophical discussions about the future of the motherland over copious amounts of tea. In Moscow, it seems, an elite education is a serious business, with a price tag to match its gravitas. Let's journey north to Toronto, Canada, a multicultural metropolis known for its politeness, maple syrup, and, surprisingly, some rather impolitely priced private schools. We're looking at the Maple Leaf Vanguard Academy, a name that sounds both patriotic and slightly intimidating. This academy prides itself on its holistic environmental stewardship program, which involves students managing a rooftop organic garden that supplies local food banks and participating in urban reforestation initiatives. A unique feature is their Indigenous Cultures and Reconciliation Studies program, which is genuinely commendable, though one hopes it's more than just a line item on an expensive brochure. They also have a state-of-the-art media lab for digital storytelling and ethical journalism. The cost to have your child become a holistically minded, environmentally stewarding digital storyteller at Maple Leaf Vanguard, a significant 95,000 Canadian dollars, which is roughly 70,000 US dollars per year. For that amount, you'd expect the school to come with a personal apology letter from the bursar for the size of the bill. The school lunches are probably poutine made with artisanal cheese curds and locally sourced organic gravy. It's the kind of place where students might politely debate the merits of carbon taxing before heading off to their improv comedy club. In Toronto, it seems, even a famously nice country can produce schools with fees that are anything but. Annyeonghaseyo. We now arrive in Seoul, South Korea, a city pulsating with energy, technological innovation, and an intense focus on education that, at the top tier, comes with an equally intense price. Let's examine the Han River Global Leaders Institute, strategically located to inspire ambition with its views. This institute champions its AI-integrated, personalized learning pathways and a mandatory K-culture diplomacy program, where students learn the soft power of pop music and drama, presumably to negotiate better trade deals in the future. The unique feature is their competitive esports excellence center, because in Korea, gaming isn't just a hobby, it's a potential career path, and apparently a component of a very expensive education. They also have intensive after-school Hagwon-style booster classes built into the regular, very long school day to secure your child's spot as a future global leader with K-culture finesse and esports prowess. You'll need to prepare 90 million South Korean won, which is around $68,000 annually. For that investment, you'd expect the school to provide a personal life coach, a stylist, and maybe even a debut opportunity with a major entertainment company. The school cafeteria probably serves Michelin-star quality bibimbap. It's a place where the academic pressure is legendary and the competition to get in is only rivaled by the competition to stay at the top of the class. In Seoul, the pursuit of educational excellence is a national pastime, and for some, an incredibly costly endeavor. Let's blow into Chicago, Illinois, the city of broad shoulders, deep dish pizza, and, as it turns out, private schools with deeply alarming tuition fees. Our focus is the Lakefront Innovators and Orators Academy, a name that suggests both scenic views and a strong debate team. This academy's unique selling point is its urban architecture and sustainable design program, where students get to redesign parts of the city, at least theoretically, and probably with very expensive software. They also boast a civic engagement incubator encouraging students to tackle real-world Chicago problems, which, given the city's history, could range from political reform to perfecting the Italian beef sandwich. The school has its own mock trading floor because what Chicago education would be complete without a nod to the commodities market. The price for your child to innovate, orate, and possibly solve Chicago's urban woes at Lakefront, a rather gusty $77,000 per year. For that kind of money, you'd expect the school to provide a lifetime supply of Garrett popcorn and a guarantee that your child will never, ever put ketchup on a hot dog. The school's drama club probably stages musicals about Al Capone with surprising historical accuracy. It's the sort of place where students might analyze the socio-economic impact of gentrification before heading off to their blues harmonica club. In Chicago, a city with a rich and complex character, the cost of an elite private education is certainly a character-building experience for the parents' finances. Service. Our educational waltz continues to Vienna, Austria, a city of imperial palaces, classical music, and, as it appears, schools with price tags that hit a very high note. Let's look at Das Kaiserliche Bildungsinstitut, the Imperial Education Institute, a name that suggests your child might graduate with a minor title. This institute prides itself on its classical music performance and composition program, where even the tone-deaf are encouraged to appreciate Mozart, or at least not actively boo. A unique feature is their Equine Studies and Dressage Excellence Center, because what's an imperial education without the ability to command a Lipizzaner stallion? They also boast a psychoanalysis for beginners elective, presumably to help students understand why their parents are willing to pay so much for their schooling. The cost for your little Kaiser or Kaiserin to master music, horses and Freudian slips, a rather imperial €68,000, which is around $74,000 per year. For that kind of money, you'd expect the school to have its own private box at the Vienna State Opera and a lifetime supply of Sachertorte. The school orchestra probably plays better than some professional ensembles, and the dress code likely involves velvet and a certain regal bearing. It's the kind of place where detention might involve writing a symphony or psychoanalyzing the motivations of a historical tyrant. In Vienna, it seems, an education steeped in tradition and culture comes with a cost that's anything but traditional for the average budget. Top of the morning, or afternoon, or evening, depending on when you're watching this financial horror show. We're in Dublin, Ireland, land of poets, playwrights, and apparently private schools that'll have you searching for a pot of gold just to pay the fees. Let's look at St. Brigid's Academy for Eloquent Scholars, a name that evokes both saintly virtue and a knack for the blarney. This academy champions its creative writing and digital storytelling program, aiming to produce the next generation of Irish literary giants, or at least very successful bloggers. A unique feature is their traditional Irish music and dance conservatory, ensuring students can jig their way through any social occasion. They also have a sustainable agriculture and Celtic mythology integrated studies unit, which sounds delightfully whimsical and incredibly niche. The cost to have your child become an eloquent, jigging, myth-knowing scholar at St. Bridget's, a rather lyrical 63,000 euros, which is around 68,500 US dollars per year. For that kind of money, you'd expect the school to come with its own resident leprechaun who occasionally dispenses financial advice. Mostly spend less on this school. The school plays are probably original works that get optioned by the Abbey Theatre. It's the sort of place where students might debate the symbolism in Joyce's before heading off to their hurling practice. In Dublin, a city with a rich cultural heritage, the price of an elite education ensures that only a select few can afford to immerse their children so deeply in it. Hey, our journey takes us to Oslo, Norway, a city of stunning natural beauty, a high quality of life, and as it turns out, some private schools that can make even a Viking's wallet tremble. Consider Den Nordiske Eliteskole, the Nordic elite school, named that's as direct and unpretentious as, well, a very expensive Nordic school. The school emphasizes environmental science and renewable energy innovation, leveraging Norway's natural landscape and progressive policies. A unique feature is their Arctic expedition and climate change research program for senior students, which involves actual fieldwork in very cold places. They also boast a social democratic leadership and welfare state studies module, which is an interesting choice for an elite private institution. Perhaps it's to teach them how to justify their fees within a traditionally egalitarian society. To enroll your child in this environmentally conscious, potentially Arctic exploring institution, you'll need to find 700,000 Norwegian kroner, which is approximately $66,000 annually. For this sum, you'd expect the school to provide each student with a personal hybrid snowmobile and a lifetime supply of sustainably sourced salmon. The school uniform probably includes very warm, ethically produced knitwear. It's a place where students might design a zero-emission energy system before heading off to their cross-country skiing club. In Oslo, a city that prides itself on sustainability and equality, the existence of such pricey schools adds an interesting layer to the socio-economic landscape. Hello, now we're in Madrid, Spain. It's a city with exciting nightlife, amazing art, and as we're finding out, schools that are so expensive you'd need more than a little nap to feel okay about the bill. Let's look at a school called El Colegio Real de Innovadores Ibéricos. That means the Royal College of Iberian Innovators. This college is really proud of its program called Entrepreneurship in the Digital Age with a flamenco flair. I'm not exactly sure what flamenco flair means for a new business, but it sounds very exciting. Something special they have is a food lab. It's for culinary arts and molecular gastronomy. There, students take apart popular Spanish foods like paella and tapas very carefully, like scientists do. They also have classes about the history of Spanish colonialism and its global impact. You would hope they teach this by looking at all sides of the story carefully and fairly. So, how much does it cost for your child to learn all these things? The flamenco flair, the fancy cooking, and the history at El Colegio Real, a very, very high 64,000 euros. That's about 69,500 US dollars every year. For that much money, you'd think the school would give you your own matador teacher, to help you fight tough problems in business, not real bills. And maybe free passes to the big Prado Museum all the time. The school's soccer team probably has coaches like the ones for professional teams. It's the kind of place where students might talk about big ideas from thinkers like Unamuno about society and money. and then go to a special class on toasting olive oil. In Madrid, a city that's so full of life, the cost of a top education like this is enough to make your heart beat fast for a whole other reason. Ciao. Next up, we're off to Rome. They call it the Eternal City. It's a city full of old stories, amazing art. And wow, some schools here cost so much you could probably dig up old treasures with that money. So let's check out l'Accademia dei Nuovi Caesari. That means the Academy of New Caesars. That's a pretty big name, isn't it? This school focuses on old Roman stuff and how to be a leader in Europe today. I guess they teach kids how to be super smart in business, like Julius Caesar was in his day. Something really cool they have is a class where they fix old things. Kids get to work with super valuable old items. You really hope someone is watching them very, very carefully. They also teach kids about opera music and how to write the stories for operas. Because in Italy, knowing about opera is as important as knowing about pasta. So, how much does it cost for your little Caesar to learn Latin, how to lead, and how to write opera stories? Get this, a whopping 67,000 euros. That's about 73,000 US dollars a year. For that much money, you'd think the school would have its own secret door to the Colosseum and teachers who are actual relatives of the old Roman emperors. The school lunches must be like big Italian parties with lots of food cooked by amazing grandmas who are also top chefs. It's the kind of school where kids might talk about deep old ideas before they go to their club, where they pretend to be gladiators. But in a safe way, of course. So, in Rome, a city filled with history, the price of these fancy schools is making a new kind of history in their parents' bank accounts. Hello there. Our journey to learn about schools now takes us to Helsinki, Finland. This city is famous for its great schools, especially the free public ones, its cool design spots, and it seems some private schools that cost so much you'd need a lot of sesu, that's Finnish toughness, just to afford them. Take Suomen tulevaisuuden akatemia, which means Finland's future academy. This school really focuses on teaching kids how to think like a computer and all about forests. A special Finnish mix of new gadgets and the great outdoors. A very unique thing they offer are silence and mindfulness retreats. They take students on quiet trips into the Finnish wilderness. These trips are meant to help them concentrate deeply and feel close to nature. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Well, it probably is if you can pay the school fees that cover it. They also say they have a special learning plan for each student, guided by AI, that's smart computers, and reindeer herders. Now, I'm not quite sure how the reindeer herders fit in with the AI, but it's definitely something you won't forget. To get your child into this school that builds toughness, loves forests, and might even have reindeer guides, you'll need around 64,500 euros. That's about 70,000 US dollars every single year. For that much money, you'd think each student would get their own private sauna and a direct phone line to Santa Claus. After all, Santa does live in Finland, you know. Their after-school coding club probably makes apps to track birds as they fly south or to find the best routes for picking berries. It's the kind of place where students might learn all about handling big data before they go off to their ice swimming club to build up their strength and grit. So, in Helsinki, a city that's often ranked as one of the best in the world, it looks like the cost of some private schools is also aiming for the top of the charts. Hello there. Now we're in Lisbon, Portugal. It's a city with old-time charms, soulful fado music, and as our list shows us, schools that might make your wallet feel a bit empty. Let's check out O Colegio dos Descobridores Modernos. That means the College of Modern Discoverers. This college is really known for its program on new ideas for the sea and learning how to keep our oceans healthy. It reminds us of Portugal's history as great sailors. One cool thing they offer is a workshop on azulejo tile art. Those are the beautiful painted tiles you often see in Portugal and digital design. So they mix old ways of making things by hand with new computer stuff. They also have a class called Learning About the World Through Food. In this class, students learn about different countries by cooking and eating their food. What a yummy but pricey way to learn. So how much does it cost for your child to become a modern explorer, a tile artist and a food expert? A whopping 62,000 euros. That's about $67,500 US every year. Wow. For that much money, you'd think they'd give you your own old-style sailing ship, like the explorers used, and all the pastéis de nata, those yummy Portuguese custard tarts you could ever eat. I bet their history classes are fun walking trips through Alfama, which is a really old part of the city. It's the kind of place where students might talk about whether exploring new lands in the past was always a good thing. Right before they go to their club for expert sailing, learn about how the sea changes the coast. So, in Lisbon, a city right by the big Atlantic Ocean, getting a top-notch education costs a whole lot of money for many families, like a huge ocean of cash. Kia ora! Our journey takes us down under once more, this time to Auckland, New Zealand, the city of sails, known for its stunning landscapes, Maori culture, and as it turns out, some private schools that require a hacker-sized financial commitment. Consider the Aotearoa Global Innovators School. This school emphasizes indigenous knowledge systems and sustainable futures, aiming to blend traditional wisdom with modern problem solving. A unique feature is their Waka Ama, outrigger canoe, leadership program, teaching teamwork and navigation on the Waitemata Harbour. They also boast a biodynamic vineyard and agricultural science centre run by students, because New Zealand wine is serious business even at school. To enrol your young innovator in this culturally rich, agriculturally ambitious institution, you'll need to prepare 110,000 New Zealand dollars, which is approximately $67,000 annually. For this sum, you'd expect the school to provide each student with their own flock of sheep and a personal rugby coach. The school's cultural performances are probably world-class, and the student-produced wine might actually be drinkable. It's a place where students might learn about the Treaty of Waitangi before heading off to their extreme sports and risk management club. In Auckland, a city that embraces its unique identity, the price of some educations ensures that access to this particular blend of learning remains highly exclusive. Hello again, Canada. We're now in Vancouver, British Columbia, a city where stunning natural beauty meets urban sophistication, and where some private school fees meet eye-watering levels. Let's look at the Pacific Rim Future Leaders Academy. This academy prides itself on its environmental sustainability and outdoor leadership program, which makes perfect sense given its location between mountains and ocean. A unique feature is their film production and indigenous storytelling course, leveraging Vancouver's status as Hollywood North and its commitment to reconciliation. They also have a marine biology research vessel for hands-on oceanographic studies, which sounds incredibly cool and incredibly expensive. The cost to have your child become a future leader with a penchant for filmmaking and marine biology, a rather scenic 90,000 Canadian dollars, which is roughly $66,500 US per year. For that amount, you'd expect the school to come with its own ski chalet and whistler and a guarantee that your child will be able to identify every type of local salmon. The school lunches are probably locally sourced, organic, and served with a view of the North Shore Mountains. It's the kind of place where students might write a screenplay about saving old-growth forests before heading off to their kayaking club. In Vancouver, a city that values its natural assets, the price of some educations is a natural barrier for many. Good day once more. We're now in Melbourne, Australia, a city famous for its vibrant art scene, laneway cafes, and, as we're discovering, private schools that could make your flat white turn cold with shock. Consider the Yarra Valley Scholars Enclave, a name that evokes pastoral beauty and intellectual pursuit. This enclave emphasizes creative industries management and ethical AI development, a very Melbourne combination of arts and tech. A unique feature is their street art and urban regeneration project, where students collaborate with local artists to beautify the city, which is a fantastic initiative. They also boast an independent roastery and barista training centre, because in Melbourne, coffee isn't just a drink, it's a way of life and apparently a school subject. To secure your child's spot among these coffee-savvy, art-loving scholars, you'll need to find AUD 105,000, which is roughly $69,000 annually. For that investment, you'd expect the school to provide a personal tram pass and a lifetime supply of artisanal sourdough bread. The school's fashion design students probably put on shows that rival Melbourne Fashion Week. It's an environment where students might debate the aesthetics of post-graffiti before heading off to their advanced coffee cupping class. In Melbourne, a city that prides itself on its culture and cool, the cost of an elite education is a seriously uncool reality for most parents' budgets. Oi. Our journey takes us to Edinburgh, Scotland, a city of dramatic history, literary giants, and, as it appears, private schools that require a treasure chest worthy of Captain Kidd. Let's look at the Royal Mile Heritage Academy. This academy prides itself on its Scottish Enlightenment philosophy and modern innovation program, connecting past intellectual glories with future challenges. A unique feature is their Highland Games and Gaelic language immersion retreat, ensuring students are well versed in caber tossing in the mother tongue. They also boast a whisky appreciation and responsible business ethics course for senior students, which sounds like a very Scottish way to learn about commerce and presumably moderation. The cost to have your child philosophize, toss cabers and appreciate whisky responsibly at Royal Mile Heritage, a rather brave £58,000, which is around $71,000 US per year. For that kind of money, you'd expect the school to come with its own bagpiper, on call, and a direct view of Edinburgh Castle from every classroom. The school's debate team probably argues in both English and Gaelic about the merits of independence. It's the kind of place where students might analyse Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations before heading off to their advanced storytelling and ghost tour guiding club. In Edinburgh, a city steeped in tradition, the price of some educations is a modern-day shock to the system. Hello again. Next up, we're in Kyoto, Japan. This city used to be the capital, and it's full of calm temples and lovely gardens. And like we're seeing on our list, some schools here cost so much you'd need to be a Zen master not to worry about the money. Let's check out the Golden Pavilion Academy for Aesthetic Pursuits. This school is really proud of its program called Classical Japanese Arts and Mindfulness Technology. It's a cool mix of old traditions and new ideas. One special thing they have is a class on tea ceremony in Ikebana that's flower arranging, where they learn about it like a way of thinking. It teaches them to be disciplined and see beauty in everyday things. They also have a cool challenge, designing robots to help older people, which is super important and kind, especially in Japan. So how much does it cost for your child to learn all this tea ceremonies, flower arranging, and kind robots? Get ready for this. A calm 9,500,000 yen, that's about 64,000 US dollars a year. For that much money, you'd think each student would get their own little Zen garden and matcha tea for life. Their calligraphy club probably makes art good enough for a museum. It's the kind of place where students might chat about something called wabi-sabi. That's about finding beauty in simple or imperfect things, before going to their class on writing special short poems called haikus. So in Kyoto, a city that's all about Japanese tradition, the high price of these fancy schools means that not everyone gets the chance to experience all this. It's really for a lucky few. Hello from Bavaria. We're now in Munich, Germany. This city is famous for Oktoberfest, making things really well, and you won't believe it, private schools with fees so high you could buy a mountain of pretzels. Let's look at Die Bayerische Elite Akademie für Ingenieurwesen und Kunst. That's the Bavarian Elite Academy for Engineering and Art. This school is super proud of its program where students learn to design cars and smart ways to get around, and that's perfect because this is where BMW cars come from. Something really special is their workshop that mixes old Bavarian crafts, like making traditional outfits with new tech like 3D printing. They also teach students about the amazing Alps nearby, how to enjoy them and protect them too. So what's the price for your child to learn to design cars, become a craft master and help save the Alps? Get ready for this, a huge 63,500 euros. That's about 69,000 US dollars a year. For that kind of money, you'd almost expect them to give you a free luxury car when you graduate, and maybe even your own special table at the best beer garden during Oktoberfest. I bet the school's engineering club builds amazing robots that win awards and can probably serve beer too. It's the kind of place where students might study how beer pours perfectly from a mug before they run off to their yodeling club. So, in Munich, a city that really cares about its history and also about new ideas, the high price of schools like this really says something. It's not for everyone. G'day yet again. We're now in Perth, Western Australia, one of the most isolated major cities in the world, known for its beautiful beaches, mining boom and, as we're discovering, private schools with fees that are anything but remote. Consider the Swan River Vanguard Institute for Resourceful Leaders. This institute prides itself on its mining technology and environmental remediation program, very relevant to WA's economy. A unique feature is their remote exploration and drone surveying course, preparing students for careers in the vast outback. They also boast an indigenous art and sustainable resource management collaboration with local Noongar elders, which sounds like a genuinely valuable and unique offering. The cost to have your child become a resourceful leader, drone surveyor and environmental remediator. A rather isolated 108,000 Australian dollars, which is roughly 71,000 US dollars per year. For that kind of money, you'd expect the school to come with its own private jet for field trips to remote mine sites and a lifetime supply of sunshine. The school's geology club probably discovers new mineral deposits on a regular basis. It's the kind of place where students might analyze global commodity markets before heading off to their advanced Kyoka selfie techniques workshop. Quokkas are adorable, look them up. In Perth, a city that thrives on its resources, the price of some educations is a significant resource drain for parents. Yee-haw! Our final stop on this financially frightening tour is Calgary, Alberta, Canada, a city famous for its stampede, its oil industry, and, as it turns out, private schools that'll make you want to rustle up some extra cash. Let's look at the Foothills Academy for Energetic Entrepreneurs. This academy emphasizes energy sector innovation and sustainable futures, a nod to Calgary's economic backbone while looking ahead. A unique feature is their Rodeo Arts and Western Heritage program, because in Calgary you need to be able to ride more than just the stock market. They also boast a carbon capture technology and climate policy debate club, tackling the big issues facing the energy sector. The cost to have your energetic entrepreneur master rodeo arts and carbon capture, a rather wild 92,000 Canadian dollars, which is roughly 68,000 US dollars per year. For that amount, you'd expect the school to provide a complimentary cowboy hat and boots, and perhaps a small oil derrick for hands-on learning. The school's business plan competition probably involves pitching new energy startups to actual venture capitalists. It's the kind of place where students might analyze oil futures before heading off to their advanced square dancing and line graph interpretation class. In Calgary, a city with a can-do spirit, the price of some educations means many parents just can't do it. And there you have it, 40 cities where the cost of education isn't just high, it's practically orbiting a distant, very exclusive planet. We've seen schools with personal funiculars, polo ponies, and tuition fees that could comfortably fund a small nation's entire public education system for a year. It's enough to make you wonder if the primary subject being taught is advanced wealth hoarding with a minor in ignoring the poor's. Because, let's be honest, when a school costs more than the median lifetime earnings of several families combined, it stops being about education and starts being about something else entirely, perhaps a very elaborate, multi-year performance art piece designed to make the rest of us feel inadequate. Now, I'm Zakaria Mohammed, and while I can't magically make these fees disappear or convince these institutions that maybe, just maybe, teaching children doesn't require gold-plated Bunsen burners, I can encourage you to think about what this all means. Is this the pinnacle of learning or a symptom of a system where opportunity is increasingly becoming a luxury good? Are we cultivating future leaders or just really well-educated gatekeepers? These are not easy questions, and frankly, the answers are probably as depressing as a tax audit after sending 3 kids to Le Croissant d'Or. So what can you do? Well, short of inventing a machine that prints money, and please, if you do, call me, perhaps just be aware. Be aware of the disparities, the absurdities, and the sheer unadulterated chutzpah of it all, and maybe, just maybe, support systems and initiatives that aim to make quality education accessible to everyone, not just those who can afford a director of serenity on staff. Until next time, try not to think about how much your own education cost or didn't cost. It's just better that way. Good night.